Hi, and welcome back. On today's episode, I'd like to share a wee bit more about myself and a little bit more about my music as well. I grew up in Easterhouse, Glasgow in the 60s, 70s, 80s. It was some place to be back then, and it probably still is. Around the late 60s, maybe it's 1970, I started getting more into music. Top of the Pops was on every Thursday night, so you got to see and hear your favourite bands. Mine were bands like Slade and T-Rex, and seeing them on Top of the Pops really made me want to get a guitar. I thought that's what I want to do, be a rock star on Top of the Pops. One of the songs I remember from back then was Goodbye to Jane by the Slade. I still love that song, and I love all the other stuff that was around then. Eventually, I convinced my dad to get me a guitar, and we went down to the Barras and got a guitar for £17. Not the Fender Strat that I imagined in my head, but a classical style guitar with nylon strings. My dad said it's better to learn on that first, and that's what I did. And my dad had a friend called Danny Breslin who lived up in Provan Hall in Easterhouse. He played the guitar, and he was really into country, especially Johnny Cash. So the first song I learned was Stripes by Johnny Cash. 2 chords and away you go. Danny was a great guy, very colourful, but I only had 2 lessons with him. And then I was off on my own, teaching myself. It took some time, mind you, lots of frustration and blisters in the fingers, but eventually you get there with perseverance. The next chapter involves my dad and a double album and the Beatles and the realization I could write my own songs. I'll get into that in a future podcast. So fast forward a few years, again sitting up late at night watching TV, strumming my guitar. I hear a guy on the TV saying, caught up in your own web, eh? It was some kind of drama that was on. And I thought, great, that's a great title for a song. So I sat down and I wrote that song, and it's called Caught Up in Your Own Web. My brother Chris, Billy McGraw, and a guy called Muzz, Stephen Murray, nicknamed Muzz, and myself, we had a band in Glasgow called The Missing Factor. And that became one of our songs. And it's right here, right now. It's Caught Up in Your Own Web.
Always running around, will you
you ever done for me. I can see right through, looking right inside. Empty promises inside of your lies. Get out of my head, get out of my mind. Caught up in your own web, a victim of yourself. Caught up in your own web. Caught up in your own web, a victim of yourself. Caught up in your own web. Caught up in your own web, a victim of yourself. Caught up in your own web. So that's another song from Glasgow that has stuck around through the years and has stood the test of time. There's probably 2 or 3 of them. I'd like to get into a bit more about the missing factor on the next podcast. And we had a little bit of success in and around Glasgow. And we had a lot of good times. And I'd like to tell you a little bit more about that. But for now, I think that's me done. It's another short one, I'm afraid. So hopefully you hang in there till the end. And you can always hear me at Spotify or any streaming platform, Joe Monaghan or Joe Monaghan Music. Or you can go to my website, joemonaghanmusic.com, to hear more and see what kind of I got some albums available on there. And you can read a little bit about me as well, if you're interested, if you have a mind to. Anyway, I will see you next time. Thanks for listening.